All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to make your business more attractive to buyers. So I already did a quick video on first knowing exactly why you want to sell your business. I recommend checking that one out before you sort of journey down this road a little bit. It's important to ask yourself that question, so check that one out. But this one is going to be, there's a few different tricks that you can use to make sure that you get the most value for your business. And essentially comes down to just dressing it up a bit, just making it look a little bit nicer when you're selling. It's just like the same concept if you're trying to sell a car. You want to clean the outside, give it a wash, give it a wax, give the inside a nice vacuum. It's the same sort of deal. You want to make it presentable to someone else for buying. And the first thing that you can start thinking about doing is removing some of the personal expenses that you have running through your business. If you've been building this business over the last 20, 25 years, there's probably a lot of things that you have running through your business right now, which is a great thing as far as tax reasons go. It's awesome while you're running the business, but when it comes time for someone else to take it over, there becomes this back and forth regarding what we call add backs. And add backs are essentially all of your expenses that you are running through. So your car, vacations, trips, any other little things that might be going through your business. So if you don't take those out before you send your financials to someone to look at, both teams then have to go through and say, okay, well, what counts as an add back and what doesn't? What's actually a true business expense? And that process itself can take a significant amount of time if the transaction is fairly complicated. But you can eliminate a lot of that time spent if you just start taking them out little by little. So if you have a little bit more time to prepare to sell your business, it's best to start doing this over a little bit of a 2-year period. And there's kind of a few things that go into that. I'd recommend asking your accountant about that. I'm not an accountant, so this is more of a basic overview, but hopefully it gets some thoughts flowing about a few other things to think about. The next thing that you should start considering doing is just cleaning up your financials a little bit. So it kind of plays off the first part, but this comes down to cracking down on your accounts receivables, making sure that people are paying you on time, and see if you can get the total time that it takes a customer to pay you down. It's a really attractive thing for a buyer to see, to make sure that, all right, all their customers, they kind of know the situation. They are very, very consistent when it comes to paying their bills, which is great for cash flow reasons. The other thing you can do, speaking of customers, is to secure long-term contracts with your customers if you can, which basically creates a stable source of revenue and a stable source of cash flow for a buyer coming in. You might think, well, if I'm securing all these long-term contracts, why wouldn't I just stay on with the business until that contract is over? Because it's basically guaranteed income for me. Well, you could, but it becomes a point of, well, when does it end? Do you just continue to secure contracts? So use it as a bonus for the buyer coming in. Use it as a cherry on top. Say, look, we have 3 of these big customers of ours. We've locked them into 4-year contracts. You have a stable source of revenue from these 4 people over the next 4 years. It might not take up the majority of your total revenue, but again, it decreases the risk on the buyer's end, which is always going to increase the value of the total price. One of the other quick things that you could start preparing when you're looking at all the paperwork is to get what we call a virtual data room going, which is essentially just a Google Drive folder that you can share with someone who's potentially interested in buying your business. So instead of having all of your documents laid out all over the place, you've got your paper licenses here, maybe you have some IP or some patents or something like that. They're all just sort of sitting in a pile. You don't really have them sorted that well. All of your financial statements throughout the years will want to see typically the last 3, 5, sometimes 10 years of financial, depending on the situation. And if you put all of these documents together, scan them. If you have an iPhone, there's an app built into the Notes app where you can just scan documents and send them directly to your computer, or save them from your phone, email them to yourself. It becomes a very, very quick and easy way to just say, okay, here's all of our documents. You send them the link. You just email them the link to share the Google Drive folder. And from a buyer's perspective, it makes our lives 10 times easier, and we're going to thank you for it. And we're going to be thrilled, and we're going to see you as a very professional seller who kind of knows the process and is anticipating all of our needs. It's kind of a marketing process in a way. It's anticipating the pain of your buyer, which is literally the buyer of your business. It's just taking that same concept and moving it to selling your business. Another thing with paperwork or any contracts is licenses. If you have very specialized licenses or certain certifications that you need to operate your business, just make sure that those are all renewed, and making sure that you have a clear system of how to renew them if it's a fairly complex procedure, and making sure that one of your employees is then trained to renew these for the new buyer, just in case there's some overlap or it expires during the time of this transition period from owner to owner. It really streamlines the process of continuing to make sure that your business can run efficiently. So these are some fairly basic things you can start tackling right away. Just go through and see what you can organize. See it from the other side of the desk, so to speak. So what would a buyer want to see, and how could you make their lives a little bit easier when it comes time to sell your business? Because the easier you make the transaction, the more you're probably going to get for your business. The less back and forth you'll have, both parties will be happier. It'll just be a smoother transaction. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of value, and I'll see you guys in the next one.